হ্যালো, শোনা যাচ্ছে আমার কথা?
Yes, sir.
আচ্ছা, লাস্ট ডে কোন প্রবলেমটা করেছিলাম একটু দেখে বলো তো আমাকে। একটা সিমিলার ট্রায়াঙ্গেল দিয়ে একটা ল্যান্ড এন্ড বিল্ডিং মেথডের প্রবলেম, সেটা কি লাস্ট করেছিলাম?
Recess land betting method.
হ্যাঁ, বিল্ডিং মেথডে লাস্ট প্রবলেমটা কোনটা করেছিলাম একটু বলো।
A property of land is shown in figure. It
ওকে
consists
ওকে
of.
ওকে, ঠিক আছে ঠিক আছে, বুঝেছি।
Next day comparison method এটা লেখা আছে মানে এটা বলেছে comparison method টা পরের
হ্যাঁ,
দিন
ওকে ওকে। We'll start or wait for another 2 minutes. Okay. Now, comparative method of valuation. In this method, first you must write down land. Value of land depends on many aspects. Number one is the situation. The situation of the land determines the value. The capacity of a building the capacity of a building constructed on land to earn a reasonable return on capital invested is the main feature which will determine the market value of land. Now, see, let me repeat. Okay, land. How the value of land differentiating from one place to another. Value of land depends on many aspects. Number one, situation. The capacity of a building constructed on a land to earn a reasonable return on capital invested is the main feature which will determine the market value of land. Say same area of land. Say if I consider 1 acre, 1 acre of land, if the area is situated at Jadavpur area, it will have the capacity to pay more return. Because if I construct a building or any property there on, I'll be getting more return due to the proximity of the university as well as so many other industries. But on the contrary, if it is situated, the same area of the land is situated in Diamond Harbour area, it will have the capacity to pay me the return
Present,
only
sir.
on the agriculture produce. Hello? কেউ কিছু বলছো? It will pay the return on the only agriculture basis. So location and situation is very important. Means the land may be the same area, maybe the same condition. Both the land may be the both in both areas the land may be filled up earth or it may be solid earth, but the capacity of the building constructed on the land will determine the value of the land. Okay, let me erase here. A building in the center of a town, at a town, at a city, town produces a higher rent than a similar sized building on the outskirts of a town, of a city or town. I mentioned here that a building is constructed at a town city produces a higher rent. Then a similar sized building on the outskirts of a city. If the building is located at the center of the city, within the city or town, so the building may be used for so many purposes. So the owner of the building may expect a good return in comparison to a building which is located outskirts of the building that may not be used, that may be used by somebody, but due to the distance from the center of the town, the building may fetch less return. Okay. Value of land which is situated in a business and commercial locality will produce higher rents than land which can only be used, I'm repeating, value of land which is situated in a business and commercial locality. You see, in Kolkata, the most congested area is Boro Bazar. There, the value of land is too much. You will not get any land, vacant land, and the rent of those buildings is also too high. In comparison to any area where there is no such business or business center, where the buildings are only used for destination purposes. This is mentioned here. The commercial locality will produce higher rent than land which can only be used for residential purpose. Land located at popular areas for closeness to schools, markets, offices will be more than would be more than rural areas. Okay. The comparative value of land may be adjusted by comparing the expected rent land located at popular areas for closeness to schools, market, offices will be more. And here you must write value of land. Okay, value of land located at popular areas for closeness to school, markets, offices will be more than rural areas. The comparative value of land may be adjusted by comparing the expected rent per meter square for such variations of locations. In residential areas, value varies according to the direction to which plot faces. And the following is a summary of the order in which they are referred. In the Kolkata area. So let me repeat. Variation of locations. Acha, no. In residential areas, value varies according to the direction to which plot faces. And the following is a summary of the order in which they are preferred in the Kolkata area, particularly for Kolkata. Let me erase. First means first preference, south facing. due to existence of Bay of Bengal, South Breeze. Second, southeast facing. Third, east facing. Fourth, northeast facing. Or southwest facing. Fifth, north facing. Sixth, northwest facing. Seventh, west facing. So this is the preference, particularly for Kolkata region, since we are having Bay of Bengal at the south. So it is expected that ocean breeze may be available if the building is south faced. Okay. So south facing preferred most, then southeast facing. In addition, nowadays valuation also fluctuates according to Vastu Shastra, though somebody is saying it is not scientific, but so many businessmen and people are there. They first of all they judge the buildings and locations with respect to the Vastu Shastra. According to that also, south is facing is preferable in comparison to others. Now third is the east facing, fourth is the northeast or southwest, fifth north facing, sixth northwest, seventh west facing. But in case if it is not available, if only west facing is available, say in my particular case, I am staying in a house which has been constructed 60 years back, my father, which is just south facing, west facing. What to do? There is no other alternative land. So we have constructed building, knowing that this is the last choice of the people for having south facing. But you have no choice. In vacant area, if you are having any choice, you may go for according to the preference. Okay. Now this is for the residential area. Now in business area, there is very little difference between north and south facing. Facing plots unless the south is completely open. such as facing a park or public open space. As I have told just now that in Bodobaja area, the commercial area, or Shalda station adjacent area, which area is commercial area, there is no such have a difference between the rate whether the plot is north face or south face, because people used to used to occupy those spaces for business, not for residential purposes. However, in that case also, there may be some difference in the value if the plot, south facing plot, uh, if the south facing the plot is south faced and faced to an open space like park. If it is park spacing, definitely the rate will be high because that will be vacant land. So it is mentioned here in business area there is very little difference between north and south facing plots unless the south is completely open, such as facing a park or public open space. Okay. Now, number two, size. So we have learned that depending upon the location means situation, valuation of land differs. Now, size depending upon the depending upon the circumstances of a case, small plots circumstances of a case, small plots will fetch more price per square meter as compared to large plots. As we have area, a rate has been adopted for the first bed, but second bed and third bed, the price is a little bit less. So ultimately, on an average, total price of this entire large area is less than the price of the smaller area. Because smaller area land that can be purchased and sold very easily. there will be so many buyers, so many sellers. For large plot, neither there is any availability of large plot. There will be just very few sellers, and the reverse is also very true that there will be very few buyers also. Okay, so you will not get that competitive price. Now, depending upon, let me repeat, depending upon the circumstances of the case, small plots normally fetch more price per square meter as compared to large plots. It is true that smaller plots can be sold more easily than larger plots, as there would be a greater demand for them. But that to a certain extent, depending upon the purpose, but that to a certain extent, depending upon the purpose for which a buyer desires to purchase land. Let me repeat. It is true that smaller plots can be sold more easily than larger plots, as there would be a greater demand for them. But that to a certain extent, depending upon the purpose for which a buyer desires to purchase land, and the kind of development taking place in the locality. In the locality. If the land is required for an industrial purpose, an investor would have no use for a small plot of land. Now let me explain. Land and the kind of development taking place in the locality. If the land is required for an industrial purpose, say I'm giving the example. Very recently, just 2 years back, I came back from Raghunathpur. It is located in Purulia. There we have set up one very large thermal power plant. We acquired 2,400 acres, 2,400 acres of land that is required for the all sorts of activities for a thermal power plant, including ash pond, DM plant, powerhouse, boiler house, raw water reservoir, intake pump house, etc. So, cases. Since my purpose is to set up an industry, so definitely at that time I was in the search of larger area, not a small area. So in that case, this is an exception. The larger plots should have obtained more value because in case of smaller plots, though we have acquired smaller plots also, just accumulation of so many small plots we have to take. In some cases, we have to directly purchase some plots. To avoid purchasing of smaller plots, we diverted some scheme so that for fewer plots but larger plots, we may set up our plant. So this is mentioned here. If the land is required for industrial purpose, an investor who have no use for small plot of land will prefer large, larger land. Therefore, from the mere fact that small plot, small plots can be more easily sold than larger plots. It would not always follow always follow that that a smaller plot compared to a larger one without having regard to, let me repeat, therefore, from the mere fact that small plots can be more easily sold than larger plots, it would not always follow that a smaller plot compared to a larger one without having regard to anything also must always be more valuable. So first of all, I mentioned that since smaller plots can be easily sold or bought, they should fetch more more price per square meter. But thereafter, we have mentioned that it is also related to the purpose for for a person who is searching for land for setting up industry. He will be searching for larger plots. So for him, larger plots should face more return in comparison to smaller plots. Okay, this is mentioned here. Again, small plots which cannot be, just a minute, okay? 1 minute. Small plots which cannot be developed to their to their full potentialities as per development control rules will have less value. Here it is mentioned that small plots which cannot be developed to their full potentialities as per the development control rules will have less value. Let me explain. Okay. Say this is a road, it is a large plot, and here are some small plots. Say I am having this plot. So if I be interested to construct building as per the development control rules, I will have to keep some space as the open space. So say some land, it may not be possible for me to construct a self-sufficient residential building. If it is possible to construct a residential building self-sufficient, means the minimum, at least one BHK. There should be one bed, one drawing, one kitchen, one uh, toilet, etc. Then I can say that okay, I may have some tenant, so I may face some return, so this plot may be developed. But due to a very small area, it may be possible that not a single self-sufficient unit may be constructed in that plot. If I am not able to construct even a self-sufficient 1 BHK flat, a 1 BHK building, then how can I expect to fetch more return? Okay, acha, just a
So
minute.
please explain this again. Sir, can you repeat this? Yeah. Clearly.
But
Sir, can you repeat
but in
this?
case of yeah, say let me draw again. Okay, say this is plot A. It is a large area plot, and here are some other plots X, Y, Z, E. Now, say I am having X plot, X area. So after after maintaining all the norms of municipality or corporation, who may be termed as the development control department, who are having some rules that you cannot start your activities. Say for X, I'm drawing here. Say large scale, it is X. So if I start a constant activities, so I may go for up to this area. Okay, because in the front, side, back, I'll have to keep some spaces open. It may not be possible for me to construct even a very small self-sufficient unit of residential building, because by constructing one residential building, then that may be small, that may be, but that should be self-sufficient. Means it should have one drawing room, one bedroom, one kitchen, one toilet, one veranda, whatever may be. If it is not possible to construct that building within this X area, then how can I develop the X area? Number two, if it is not possible for me to construct even for a just self-sufficient shop through which I can earn something. How can I develop? In that case, I'll have to acquire plot B also. Means due to the very restricted size of smaller size of X, Y, Z, P, those plots cannot be independently developed. In that case, though they are small plots, as I have mentioned, that small plots must get more return than large plots. But here in this case, due to their restricted length and width, they may not get more return because the purchaser or the owner may not be able to develop the land by constructing any building which will be prudent for the businessman to run the business. Okay, this much I have explained.
Okay, sir.
Okay, now next thing is I have told you one, two A, two B. Yes. Next, shape.
Sir, you are muted.
In residential area, people prefer regular shift plots. In case of small plots in shopping area, where every inch every inch of space is valuable. Regular plots, regular shaped plots are preferred. Okay, here I have mentioned that in case of small plots in shopping area means business area, where every inch of space is valuable. So people definitely they will be preferring regular shaped plots because in case of regular shaped, your wastage will be minimum, as we have seen in case of this recess land. Why recess land? Government has given some discount because due to the irregular shape, there may be more open space with respect to the minimum requirement. So the owner of the plot is bound to keep keep more open space. So in that and for this, the value has been considered at a lesser price, 3/4 of the value of the land of the same build. So the same thing here it is mentioned. People preferred regular shaped plots. Now next, frontage. Frontage and depth in commercial areas. Areas. More the frontage, greater is the value of land for residential purpose, where the proportion between frontage and depth is more than 2, the value of the land should be proportionately less. The value will be proportionately less. Let me explain. In commercial areas, more the frontage, greater the value. If I get more frontage, I will have more access to the road. I can keep my shop throughout the frontage. I can maintain with glass wall so that the entire thing will be visible from the outside. So more the frontage, more the value. But for residential purpose, where the proportion is between frontage and depth is more than 2, value will be proportionally less. Let me explain. Say, first of all, it is a commercial area. So this A is having this much frontage, B is having this much, and C is having. So here B, the value of B will be more because it is having more frontage at any point from this P1 to P2. You can have access for entry into the plot. In in other case, for A, it is having only this much of frontage, and C it is also having this much. So in comparison to ABC, B is having more frontage, so definitely the value will be more in residential area. Normally, this more the frontage, more the value is not considered always. Because for decision purpose, you cannot put, just think of it, you cannot put, say, if I just if I consider this much as the open space front, this, this blue color, this is the open space. Now, here I cannot make this is bedroom, then toilet, then kitchen. No, it will not a good design. So normally, for residential purpose, what is preferred, I'm showing you this type of land where, as I mentioned, where the proportion between frontage and depth, this front, it is a frontage and depth. This is a depth, frontage. So frontage by depth, it is less than equal to 2 we are keeping. Okay, because in that case, you can accommodate all your necessary rooms and spaces. Okay, but if say the depth is more in comparison to frontage, means if frontage by depth, no, if the proportion between frontage by depth is more, no, just reverse. If the frontage is more, say, I'm showing two cases. Okay, okay, this is the road. So residential area, it is A, it is B. If I consider for the commercial area, B is preferred. But for residential area, normally we are preferring this frontage is the proportion between the frontage and depth. Actually, though I mentioned here, it should be the frontage by depth. Means frontage should be at least frontage should be half. It should be half. So depth by frontage should be less than equal to 2. Okay. So here the frontage is, here in this case frontage is for font divided by depth, so it should be less than equal to 2. But here in this case, font and depth, font divided depth greater than equal to 2. So it is not preferred. If the frontage and depth proportion is more than 2, it is not preferred. No, in that case, you cannot accommodate your residential requirement of the building in a prudent way. Nobody will be willing to accommodate the toilet or kitchen at the front side. Those will be constructed at the back side, or or just little bit right side or left side, not at the front. Front will be your access, your veranda, your drawing room, and maybe your bedroom also. So this is mentioned here because a measured side space side space for both sides of the built up area. Oh, is required. Besides, the cost of construction of the built up area will be more for higher ratio between frontage and depth. So because a measured side space for both sizes of the built-up area is required. Besides, the cost of construction of the built-up area will be more for high ratio between frontage and depth. Next comes the very important return frontage. Say it is shown in this figure like this. It is a road. It is also another road. This plot This plot is having access of both sides, having frontage of this portion as well as this portion. So it is having, it is called return front, return frontage. Let me write here. Plots situated at the junction of two roads having frontage of these two roads are said to have return frontages. Let me repeat. Plots situated at the junction of two roads having frontage of these two roads are said to have return frontages. So this plot, and if I consider another plot here, this, say it is A, it is B. So value of B will be less than in comparison to A, because B is having only one frontage. A is having both side frontage. It is called return frontage. Such corner plots are usually valued a little more than a little more than other plots. in the same area, in the same. Say, I have been given a task by the government to assess the valuation of this plot, this corner plot. So, during my course of calculation, I got information that another plot B, it is A, B. I got the information regarding the rate of plot B, which has been sold recently. So, by comparing, I can say the value of A will be more than value of B. So, I can cross check my calculation that in no case the value of A should be less than value of B. This is comparison method. Or simply I can assume, I will have to mention in the valuation sheet that assuming that the value of plot B having 20% more value of plot, sorry, value of plot A is 20% more value than plot B. So I have taken the value of A equal to 1.2 into value of B. Assumption. If I'm not having any other information clue. But this much to be assured that value of A should be more than value of B. Okay. The same area. Okay. The exact extent, however, the exact extent, not however, of the increment cannot be laid down in any article in any arithmetical proportion and must depend upon the area in which the corner plot exists. The demand of such plots, such plots in the area the known instances of cell. Let me repeat. The exact extent of the increment cannot be laid down in any arithmetical proportion, but it cannot be defined that what should be the formula for the quantum plot. It in a arithmetic proportion. Directly, I can't say whether it will be 20% high or 30% high because it is depending upon some other factors and must depend upon the area in which the quantum plot exists. If I am interested to calculate the valuation of a very remote area, so there will be hardly any difference between the corner plot and the single frontage plot. If the same area does not belong to any industrial or business area, because even because for a rural area there will be very little difference between the advantages being obtained from the corner plot if the corner plot is not being utilized for commercial purposes. Okay, so corner plot exists and demand of such plot. If there is no such demand of corner plot, then again we'll have to think that it should not be the value should not be more than the single fronted plots in the area and known instance of sale. If I am having some evidence, yes, in this area during the last 2 years the corner plots have been sold at a much higher price than the single phase plot, then I may consider. If it is not available, then just arithmetically we can't say that in all area corner plots should be valued 20% or 30% or 20% more than the single phase plots instead of sale. Okay. Now, width of roadways. Next, road. The width of road in front of a plot of land must be taken into account when estimating the value of the plot. According to municipal laws, building height of the building depends mostly on front road on front here I mentioned the width of the road in front of a plot of land must be taken into account when estimating the value of the plot. According to the municipal laws, height of building depends mostly on front road width for construction of public buildings such as school, healthcare, etc. Land on a wider road is preferred. Say, say it is a road. Okay. For residential building, say we may consider it is having width 4 meter. This to this. Okay. In that case, I am having this plot. So here I want to construct one building. Height will be depending upon the width of the road. If the road be 6 meter, I may construct up to fourth floor or more. But if it is just within 4 meter, then the height will be less. So since I will not be able to construct building having height more than 3 floors, definitely the rate will be less for this area. So width of the road is very important as an important criteria for determining the value of the plot. Now, for school and public purposes, there also, if the width is restricted, it will be of great difficulties because the school vans and all the public utility vehicles that may be standing up in the road, so that there may be congestion. So they also prefer wider road. This has been mentioned here for construction of public building such as school, healthcare, etc. Land on a wider road is preferred. But for business and shopping localities, the width of the roadway in front of a plot may not affect more. Here, it is to be understood that for business and shopping localities, I am not mentioning that South City complex because South City complex it is located not in a commercial area, it is located in the residential area. At the one side, Jadavpur University hostel, at the opposite side, those are totally residential areas. South City Mall for mall. So for that purpose, since it is a residential area, so why did the road moved with the price? No problem. But if you consider the case of Posta Bazaar or Baro Bazaar, which is totally the business and commercial area, then you will never get so much wider roads. Even for the smaller roads, plots fronting to smaller roads, they are also having having rate much higher than the plots as compared to residential areas. It is mentioned here. For business and shopping localities, the width of the roadway in front of the plot may not affect more. Now,
Sir, you are not audible.
sorry. Okay, vistas is also very important. So I have drawn one road. This is the road, EM bypass, and opposite here, this is the road from Goriahat. I believe at least most of you have availed this road for going to EM bypass. So when you are proceeding from Goriahat to EM bypass, from a far distance place, you will be noticing the hoarding of Ruby General Hospital. In this area, here may be the Forties hospital, but it is not visible from this place. But Ruby is visible because Ruby is situated at the opposite side of a road and it is having uninterrupted view. So the plot value of Ruby is much higher than the plot value of Forties. Though you may argue, sir, Forties is also having frontage of EM bypass, Ruby is having EM bypass in case. And again, if one plot is here, it is also having. But why the value of Ruby is more? Because it is having vista, uninterrupted view from very far distant. Okay, even people so buy a car, I will noticing from here, I am noticing Ruby. But for 40s, I will have to verify the Google map. And why 40s kaha gaya? Because it is not visible from here. When I reach there, I will be finding okay, right side 40s is there. Okay, this one is also there, but they are not having vistas. So let me write. In certain circumstances, a property may be increased in value value if it has an uninterrupted view. as I have done that side that time. The road. This is again one road. This value. It is having plot, having vista, plot, having vista. Just a minute. Let me erase. Okay. For instance, a property may be situated on a roadway running east to west immediately in front of the property, immediately in front of the property, there may be a road running north to south. This property may therefore have a cleared and uninterrupted, have a cleared and uninterrupted view from the, let me repeat, for instance, a property may be situated on a roadway running east to west, immediately in front of the property, there may be a road running north to south. This property may therefore have clear and undisputed view from the whole length of north to south roadway. This vista this vista may give the property a higher value than the adjoining properties. Now we'll be doing one problem with the vista. Okay. Write down. What is the value of a vista? Vista in a business locality of a plot having an area of 8 kata. The value of single frontage land in the locality is rupees 1 lakh per kata. Kata. Okay. The incremental rent that can be, I repeat again, just take it. এটা আমি করতে হবে. What is the value of a vista in a business locality of a plot having an area of 8 kata, 8 kata area? The value of single frontage land in the locality is 1 lakh taka per kata. The incremental rent that can be expected due to due to the existence of the vista is rupees 500 per month. Consider 8% securities interest. This is the problem. Solution. It is asked that say there is a road, it is also a road, it is a plot having vista, it is another plot having single frontage. So it is asked that what is the value of a vista in the business locality means of a plot having an area of 8 katha. So the area has also been mentioned 8 katha. The value of single frontage land, this B, its value has been mentioned. In the locality is 1 lakh per katha. So value of A will be more than that because A is having vista. The incremental rent that can be expected due to the existence of the vista is rupees 500 per month. So the incremental rent of A would be 500 per month and 8% security interest is given. Okay, so let's start solution. Here, gross rent, if I consider that, if I consider with respect to the incremental rent, so it is 500 per month. So it is rupees 500 into 12. How much it is coming? Hello?
60, 100,
Ah,
600.
6,000, no? Okay,
Hmm.
per annum. Okay, gross rent per annum. Okay. Now, if I consider, it is not given. If I consider outgoing, you may consider, you may not
Securities
consider.
money. Securities.
A security means rate of interest for the capital. Okay, I will go here. Now, this is required for years purchase one by IP. Okay, so outgoing, if you may consider, let us consider outgoing 30% of the gross rent. So 30% is coming as rupees 1800. No,
Yes, sir.
so now are we getting net rent which I require? How much it is coming? 4200. 4200. Okay. Now we know that years purchase equal to 1 by IP plus IC. Here IC is not required because building is there. Building is facing some return, but we are considering the case of Vista, the incremental rate. Okay, so that is not depending upon this. For total rate, I am considering only incremental rate. For total rate, definitely I should be considered. But in this case, we are considering for the additional rent, which the plot A is fetching due to its advantageous location. So it is not that after certain years everything again I will have to consider the building to obtain the vista because the plot is having the vista. So you need to consider the building to fetch return, not for vista. Vista is always there because the plot is having vista. So in this case, it will be 1 by IP, since IC not required, 0. So I may write 1 by this security interest point 0.08. It is coming as 12.5. 12.5 is the year's purchase. Okay. So, year's purchase 2.5, 12.5. So value, net income into year's purchase. Rupees 4200 into 12.5. How much it is coming?
52500.
Okay. This is the value. This is the value. Uh, you have been asked what is the value of Vista. It is the value of the Vista. But it is, we are having 8 katha. So value of Vista it is coming.
ইয়ার পারচেজটা 1/IP প্লাস আইপিটা কত?
IP I mentioned 8% security interest means bank rate of interest. Okay. 0.08.
ওকে।
Okay. Now value of Vista, it is rupees 52500, na?
ইয়েস স্যার।
So I can write down, since it is having 8 kata, so value of Vista per kata will be rupees 52500 divided by 8. जो आएगा वही rupees. How much it is coming?
1.5625।
1. No.
নট স্যার, অন্য ক্যালকুলেশন ছিল বলে।
6. This 8 5
62.5।
65
62.5।
6562.5. Okay. Now this is the value per kata. It is not the entire value. What is value of Vista? It is due to Vista because I have considered the net income due to Vista. Okay. So it is the incremental value due to Vista. So again I will have to write. Let me delete top portion. Only one sentence is remaining. One line is remaining. So value of land. Value of land. It is mentioned in the question that value of single frontage land in the locality is
1 lakh per kata।
1 lakh. So definitely it is also 1 lakh plus incremental this 6562.8 or whatever may be. So this will be the value of the land. If I want to calculate the value of the land, and if I ask only value of Vista, then definitely 6562 point something, it is the answer. Okay, now it is clear.
ইয়েস স্যার।
Rohan, Prabal, and
ইয়েস স্যার।
Archikya. Okay. So, okay. So the value this and only one another 2 minutes only. This is the comparative method. One thing is remaining: nature of the soil. For solid land, price will be more. Nature of soil and pond. For marshy land, low-lying land, rate will be less. So let us write down. land of filled up areas having a lesser bearing capacity than natural land. Since the land is filled up, so it is having a bearing capacity of less. Say, let me draw one like this. Say it is a low-lying area. Okay. Now I've filled it. It has been filled up. But immediately after filling, I cannot construct anything keeping the foundation up to this. So I cannot construct a high-rise building with this much. In that case, I have to go up to the solid land through the pile, or I can go for here raft foundation, then again column, etc. So I need to spend more amount for a building which could have been avoided had it been built here. If I construct here, so I will have to keep the foundation as per the norms. But for the filled up area, immediately after filling, though it has been filled mechanically, but for foundation, I'll have to consider, I have to go up to the solid ground. This is mentioned here that land of filled up area having lesser bearing capacity than natural land the foundation cost for a building will be more if the soil have a lower bearing capacity than the adjoining areas. Naturally, the value of naturally the value of filled up land natural value of filled up is less than the solid land. Thumb rule for valuation of a pond is a thumb rule. Is half the value of the solid land equal to half value of solid land. So we have covered this comparative method. Here we have studied that how we can compare one land with respect to other. So we can compare in respect to position, situation, shape, vista, uh, this your size, frontage by depth, return frontage, as well as the nature of the soil. Okay. From the next day, we'll be doing those two, three problems consisting of rental method as well as land and building method. Okay. So this much for today.
Thank you, sir.
So, okay. Thank you.